Ap Bac, South Vietnam, 1963. This is Ground Zero. The Battle of Ap Bac was one of the most significant early engagements of the Vietnam War, fought on the 2nd of January 1963 in the hamlet of Ap Bac in the Mekong Delta of South Vietnam. The battle challenged many assumptions about the strength of the South Vietnamese Army and demonstrated that the Communist forces could successfully resist a much larger, better equipped opponent. At the beginning of 1963, the United States was not yet directly fighting the war with large combat formations. Instead, it supported the Republic of Vietnam, commonly known as South Vietnam, through military advisors, helicopters, equipment, and intelligence. The South Vietnamese government believed that a sizable communist force had gathered near Ap Bac and had planned an operation to destroy it. The defending communist force consisted of approximately 320 to 350 soldiers, primarily from the 261st Main Force Battalion and the 514th Local Force Battalion of the National Liberation Front, commonly known as the Viet Cong. They were led by experienced commanders who had prepared defensive positions in advance. Rather than relying on guerrilla hit-and-run tactics, they chose to stand and fight from concealed, fortified positions. The attacking force was much larger. The operation was conducted by units of the 7th Infantry Division of the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, the ARVN, supported by elements of the 21st Infantry Division, Civil Guards units, artillery, M113 armored personnel carriers, and American helicopters. Overall, more than 1,500 South Vietnamese troops participated in the operation. Around 100 American military advisors accompanied the ARVN units but did not officially command them. The South Vietnamese plan called for a classic encirclement. Infantry would advance from several directions while helicopters inserted additional troops behind the enemy to block any escape routes. Armored personnel carriers would attack across open rice fields, while artillery and air support suppressed the defenders. On paper, the plan offered overwhelming numerical and technological superiority. However, the communist defenders had carefully prepared their positions. They dug concealed foxholes and bunkers along tree lines and irrigation ditches, allowing them to remain hidden until the attackers came within effective range. They also positioned machine guns to cover likely helicopter landing zones and open fields that armored vehicles would have to cross. As the battle began, American-made UH-21 helicopters carrying South Vietnamese troops approached the landing zones. The defenders waited until the aircraft were vulnerable before opening fire with rifles and machine guns. Several helicopters were damaged or shot down, an unusual event at that stage of the war, demonstrating that concentrated small arms fire could seriously threaten helicopter operations. South Vietnamese infantry assaults then encountered determined resistance. Many ARVN commanders were cautious about advancing across exposed ground under heavy fire. American advisors repeatedly urged more aggressive attacks and closer coordination between infantry, armor, and supporting fire, but these recommendations were often ignored or delayed. This hesitation allowed the defenders to maintain the initiative despite being heavily outnumbered. Later that day, M113 armored personnel carriers attempted to break through the communist positions. Although the vehicles were generally effective against small arms fire, they advanced without sufficient infantry support and came under accurate fire from concealed positions. Several vehicles were disabled or damaged, and their crews suffered casualties. The attack failed to overrun the defenders. Throughout the battle, the communist forces displayed remarkable discipline. Rather than firing continuously, they carefully selected targets, concentrated fire on helicopters and advancing troops, and remained concealed whenever possible. Their tactics emphasized camouflage, prepared defenses, controlled fire, and exploiting the attackers' predictable movements. These methods largely neutralized the technological advantage enjoyed by the South Vietnamese and their American advisors. By late afternoon, the communist commanders recognized that they had achieved their objective of delaying and inflicting losses on the attackers. Under the cover of darkness, they conducted an orderly withdrawal through gaps in the incomplete South Vietnamese encirclement. Despite the large government force committed to the operation, most of the defenders escaped. The casualties reflected the unexpected outcome. The Army of the Republic of South Vietnam suffered approximately 80 killed and around 100 wounded, while 3 American advisors were killed. and several others wounded. 5 helicopters were destroyed or damaged beyond repair, and numerous others sustained damage. The Communist forces lost about 18 killed, although some estimates suggest somewhat higher losses. Regardless of the exact figures, the defenders suffered significantly fewer casualties than the attacking force. Although South Vietnam officially claimed the battle as a victory because it occupied the battlefield after the Communist withdrawal, most military historians regard Ap Bac as a clear tactical victory for the Viet Cong. A much smaller force had successfully resisted repeated attacks by a superior enemy equipped with armoured vehicles, helicopters, artillery and air support before withdrawing largely intact. The battle had important strategic consequences. It exposed weaknesses in ARVN leadership, command, coordination, and willingness to press attacks under fire. American advisers became increasingly frustrated with the performance of some South Vietnamese commanders and questioned optimistic official reports about the progress of the war. The engagement also boosted the confidence of the Viet Cong, proving that disciplined, well-prepared units could defeat larger government forces despite American technology. The Battle of Ap Bac became a turning point in the perceptions of the Vietnam War. It demonstrated that technological superiority alone could not guarantee success and highlighted the importance of leadership, training, morale, and effective tactics. The lessons learned influenced both sides throughout the conflict and foreshadowed the increasingly difficult struggle that the United States and South Vietnam would face in the years that followed.